Hello, everybody. Happy June 25th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, we're heading back to the NVL for a running back from Wolcott. His name, Joe Fontano. Joe, it's a pleasure to be able to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You know, Joe, I think before we get into your time as far as with Wolcott and kind of your journey, I just want to tell you one thing that your former coach, Coach Hovey, who now is at Waterford, because I asked him, I said, hey, I'm going to be talking to one of your former players. Give me some dirt on him. He didn't give me any dirt, but he did say he wanted me to tell you, keep living up to that number 2 jersey. He did a great job of growing as a junior, and he needs to keep working to make the same growth his senior year. Also tell him I'm proud of him.
Yeah, I loved Coach Hovey. He was a good guy. I'm just glad to be wearing Joey Lynch's jersey number. Gotta
You know,
live up to
what does
that.
that number 2 mean exactly?
Well, Joey built a legacy at Wolcott. He was just a great kid, great athlete. Did everything for he was great to me too because he coached me in Pop Warner. So I always looked up to him since I was maybe 11 years old. So it just felt great to be able to wear that number 2 jersey and show him what I have.
Is it kind of like when you look at like professional sports and you see some of the great numbers out there? I mean, you could throw out like number 12, 18, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. I mean, you just throw them out. Do you feel like that number, not saying obviously it's as high as those professional players, but when you see that number, it kind of, you don't need any more motivation. You just look at the number and say, all right, let's go.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's for the whole school. Everybody wants to get to the high school and be able to wear Joey's number. It's a big deal pretty much in Wolcott.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's great that that number still, and hope I'm sure it'll still have the same remnants even after you leave. The next running back will have that same, hey, you're getting number 2. Here's the expectations. Here's who's been behind those numbers, and you'll see your name as well, man.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. 5 years, 10 years from now, I still want to see people competing for wanting that jersey number. It means a lot. So,
Joe, let's get down to business. Tell me a little bit about your career thus far. Kind of give me a background of your journey to Wolcott High School.
um, well, Pop Warner was always good. First of all, in Wolcott, we always made playoffs, made a couple state championships, never won. That always hurt. And freshman year, we kind of came in. We haven't played with each other. First of all, we had guys that weighed too much that couldn't play with us. We had guys who went to Southington because there's no weight limit, so they had more age groups. But freshman year we went in strong though too. We had a really good season. Went I think 7-3, 6-1 in our division. Then I went to sophomore year. I got to CCSU camp, and Coach Hovey goes up to me. He says, "You're starting corner." I said, "Coach, I've never played corner." He goes, "I don't care. You're there." I'm like, all right. I went up against a D1 commit to UConn. I'm sitting there shaking, and I didn't really hold him too good, but it was my first experience. It was a good experience. I didn't play varsity that much that year. I started, didn't do that good first 3 games. I wasn't that cool. Then I started playing JV, and then again I looked like a superstar in JV, but varsity it's just a whole different game. In junior year, that's kind of like when I was comfortable playing. I think I had, I'm trying to think, like 1,000 something yards, and that felt great to me because I was like, wow, JV and varsity definitely way different. I didn't think I could do it on varsity either. But that's about it, really. It's fun though. I love varsity. It's a different game. It's a faster style. JV, it's like everything you could take slow. You could stay in the backfield as long as you want. Varsity, you just got to hit the hole and go.
Well, let's talk about that real quick because I think some people, to go to baseball, because that's a sport that I love. Every level that you go through between low A, high A, double A, triple A, the pitching gets more consistent. The speed of obviously the pitches are going to be a lot more crisp, but also the speed of the game. There's less errors. There's more, as I said earlier, there's more crispness. Now you look at the NFL level, you have guys who are a little bit faster at the varsity level than JV. You're playing against much better competition. For you, how long did it take you to kind of get acclimated, I guess, to that varsity level?
It took a while. Like my sophomore year, yeah, I was starting corner. I did decent the whole game. Then all of a sudden I get burned for a touchdown. So now, I'm kind of like, oh God, like I need to start like stepping up. Then
Mhm.
running back. I don't know if one of our running backs needed a break or something. I'm like, I'm shaking, walking out there, caught a screen pass and got trucked. Like cause I tried to make a move and I'm like, it just got cleaned. And
Hmm.
that's kind of, I woke up and I'm like, this is different. This is not the same. You can't dance. You can't. So like that was kind of like where I realized you just got to hit the hole and go. You just got to get the ball and go. So I mean that's why I started to get comfortable. Then I came to Oxford. I think our second game, still getting burnt and stuff. I couldn't really like handle it because I went from freshman to varsity. I didn't
Hmm.
get to play JV yet, but then playing JV kind of made me a little bit more comfortable. It's higher than freshman, so
Hmm.
a little bit more comfortable. And then junior year, that Bullard Haven game, that just got me really comfortable. I felt like I could just play it easily, like it was freshman year again.
It really seems like, in this is, this would go for a lot of athletes, except obviously the most talented ones seem like they never fail, but they do. But for guys who kind of have to go through the process, it seems like for you that if you didn't go through those failures and you didn't keep getting thrown out there saying, all right, basically, young man, sink or swim, here you go. If you didn't go through that, maybe you don't have the same success as you did your junior year, and then hopefully now your senior year.
Yeah, I think that's true because like you throw someone out there, they're gonna learn. Like that's why, like I was under Ant Leegee, I learned a lot from him, and I was thrown out under there, and all those older guys, they're kind of mad at me, and that was good for me. I was like, oh God, I'm making these guys upset because we're losing games because of me. And that
Mhm.
kind of like me snap out of it and kind of started working hard, working harder at least to get junior year, kind of like come out here and show what I know what I'm doing.
When you noticed that the running back position was going to be something that you could take off at and you wouldn't be playing defense as much, were you trying to watch a lot of film on different guys? Were you just trying to study the craft of the game? Tell me about it.
Um, First of all, I love defense. I love playing defense. So I kind of find like I came in there thinking, oh, I'm playing both sides of the ball, this and that, and like, oh, we're just gonna keep you at running back, make sure you're comfortable on offense. I'm like, all right.
Hmm.
I mean, and then I kind of I did watch a lot of film. I love watching film. Whether it's why didn't I juke this guy? Why didn't I stiff arm him? Why did I do that move instead of that one? It's and like what holes are open? Like when my guard is pulling, where does he usually push him out? Like it's just like little things like that to make me more comfortable behind everybody, like behind the line.
When you were watching film, because obviously with a new position, there takes a lot of adjustment for various things, both in the weight room and then just on, in general, there's a lot of things that go with that. Do you feel like, as far as watching film, that you're more comfortable because now with the position being more easy, I shouldn't say easy for you, but at least you've gotten your feet wet, that now it's like, okay, there's certain things that maybe I wouldn't have noticed on the film the first time through, but now seeing it more, now I can focus more on, like you mentioned, the guard pulling to another side, maybe a tell that the linebacker had where now you can notice that later on, just stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of easier to pick up on things like blitzes. It's that's not easy to pick up on, but it's just kind of watching film. Every team is kind of the same in some way. Like
Mm.
they have their key guy on defense who's gonna blitz every gap, who's gonna go at a certain spot, and I kind of just have to read it off that. Like I'm just way more comfortable than I was earlier in my like probably sophomore year. Just way more comfortable. Like it feels like it's nature.
Really?
It's a lot better.
Well, that's good though, because you need to have that confidence. Because what I've always said that sports, and the saying is said in baseball. I think it's said in general. All sports, 90% are mental, 10% physical. Now you could vary that depending, but if you're messing with your head, you're overthinking, you're trying to do too much, then it's going to show on the field. And if you start to pout and you start getting mad, then your play is going to suffer. But if you have that confidence, even when you're struggling, you'll take that 2 yard gain, or you'll take that screen pass that you got 5 yards at. Yeah, it wasn't the 20 or 30, but it's something that you can build on.
Yeah, a lot of the game is mental. Like, I mean, even like for conditioning and stuff, it doesn't matter how fit you are. It matters if you're mentally able to go through it. In
Mhm.
my sophomore year, we ran a mile and a half. I think I had the best time out of everybody. And that kind of like was like, oh, all right, mentally strong. It's all you got to be. You just have to know you could do it in your head, then you could do it. But it's definitely a mental game. Like if a lot of like, even kids on our team, like even me,
Mhm.
once you start getting mad, once you start getting upset, you throw off your game. Your game's a different game. I start trying to do too much, doesn't help. It makes it worse.
Your junior year, you had a couple quarterbacks. It was kind of like a revolving door because of injuries and other things along with it. Was it difficult for you because kind of like when for a baseball pitcher, if he's throwing to different catchers, you're not able to get that rhythm and kind of that having that sync ability to be like, okay, having that one brain per se. For you, how hard was it going to what, two or three different quarterbacks that you had during the season?
Well, for our first quarterback, we had Matt. I started to get really comfortable in the beginning of the season. Then Noggy, he got hurt. So in Oxford, we had Mikey come in, and I'm just comfortable with him. So I've been playing with him. He's probably 8 years old. So like, me and him have always clicked. But then, so we had him for like 3 games. Then all of a sudden, we put in Jack in Watertown. We did really good. I didn't have a good game running, but he was passing it all over them. It opened up a whole new thing we had on the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Then, that half, he got hurt. So now we're back to Mikey. So now I have to start getting comfortable with Mikey again. So it was kind of just like back and forth, like random things happening, and just had to adjust to it, really. The whole team had to adjust to it.
Specifically for you, though, how did you adjust? Because I like to hear about stories about players who have to find ways to, I'm sure it was kind of outside your comfort zone because, again, you had so many different guys. It's not, it's not easy to have, okay, different quarterback, all right, but you haven't worked with him in a couple of weeks. You haven't had the same snaps, so you're not on the same page. And just being able to hand the ball off, even with a different quarterback, there's different ways. Sometimes the guy will give it lower. Sometimes it's higher. Sometimes he really kind of sticks it out. So I think people need to understand the running back position. It's not easy.
Yeah, you have to be comfortable with one person. Like, I mean, when we had Mikey in there, I started working with Jack, and I had to kind of change up my speed. I had to maybe go slower to the ball sometimes and start picking it up faster because the mesh is different. Like, everybody hands the ball off different. Everybody, yeah, like you said, has different wingspan, really. So they're either sticking out farther or shorter. So it was kind of like hard to get comfortable with that. But I mean, through the season, I mean, with them going back and forth, I just got comfortable with both of them. I kind of just had to change up a little things, like I said, speed, and then it just kind of like clicked. We were perfectly fine with both.
There was one game in particular, and it was the first game because I was broadcasting that game against, it was Naugatuck. It was at Naugatuck against Wolcott. And what really jumped out to me was your running ability. And what I mean by that is you run mad and you run hard. Like, I don't want to compare you to an NFL guy because I feel like I don't want to, put any more pressure on you than you probably already hold yourself. But I said a couple times on the air that you have kind of like that Marshawn Lynch kind of running ability, which is you could get tackled in the chest, but if they don't hit you in the legs, you're just going to take on 50 guys and say, all right, you're coming with me until I get to the end zone. Is that right?
It's it's kind of like a mode. Like I have like different switches. Like sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna try to juke these guys, and sometimes it doesn't work. So then I start getting mad at myself, and that's kind of when I run angry. I just start lowering my shoulder. My coach is like, you gotta carry him, you gotta get more yards, and then that's when I start like, all right, I'm not juking anymore. I'm just gonna lower my shoulder and just try to get the extra yards. So it's kind of like what's happening in the game. Like different games, like different things happen. Like Torrington, I went with more of like a juke kind of like a approach because it was working. Then the whole game, like Holy Cross, it wasn't easy to keep breaking 30 yards. So I just kept running with my shoulder down, getting the 2 yards I could get. So it's like all different games.
Have you figured out ways now being able to go into your senior year? Like you mentioned, how some games you could juke, other times you kind of have to change. I hate to keep going back to baseball, but kind of changing your approach. If the fastball's not working this game, then you know what? Got to start throwing more breaking balls. Or if the fastball's working, keep working with that. Is that something that you've done as far as with the running back position, depending on the game?
Yeah, like a lot of times, like if I see they have a bigger linebacker, stronger, not as fast, I'll kind of try to bounce it out, try to juke a little bit more. Then if they have more fast linebackers, I'll just kind of try to lower my shoulder and do what I can, really. So yeah, it kind of matters on how they play and like how the game goes out.
What particular defense did you face, your junior year? Were you, I don't want to say you were like, wow, like these dudes can play, but you kind of were like, all right, this is going to be a more difficult game for me to be able to get my 100.
Definitely, I would 100% say Woodland because they came into the game and they saw me and Mikey, both the Torrington game. All we did is run. It was just me and him running. They looked at the box, and every yard I got hit, at least behind the line or right at the line. And that was one of those games where I'm just like, I can't juke. I just kind of got to lower my shoulder. And I mean, I didn't have crazy yards because they definitely did stop us because all we did is run. I think it ended like 21-6 or something. Yeah, I think it was somewhere around there. But yeah, we just that was one of the teams where I'm like, their linebackers were big. Everybody on that field was athletic, and
Hmm.
they just knew what we were doing. It was like
Yeah.
they were smart. They knew what we were running before we knew we were running it.
Yeah, Woodland is they had a very special group, and obviously they lost a lot of seniors, but I still think they're going to be competitive. But they had a group. I mean, you think about they had Malinsky, Tobo, who's still there, Noble. I mean, you could just throw out a bunch of names that they had. They had a lot of talent. You can see why, and they're one of the most intriguing programs to me because coming in with Coach Mofo, they weren't really he came in, they were struggling. I think the first year they were 1-9 or something like that, and then they went 5-5, and they kept getting better and better. And he kept preaching. Not I shouldn't say preaching, but he kept telling me it starts in the weight room. Would you say for Wolcott, you guys kind of have that same approach where the weight room is important to be able to be prepared for the season?
Yeah, I mean, our coaches are more like big on like I think more like field work, like agility and stuff. Like the weight room, we like to just maintain. Like during the season, obviously we need to get bigger off season, but during the season, our coaches like just to maintain the strength. Which like having the other coaches like Coach Hovey, it
Mm-hmm.
was you're getting stronger. So we were maxing out sometimes during the season when we had a week off or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think a weight room is a big thing, and obviously it was working for them because I remember my sophomore year walking up their giant hill up to their field, and it's our coach telling that like they've never beat us on that field. Then they beat us, and I was like, oh, like they're gonna be good now. Like, and then the next year they beat us again. Like they're a tough team, and that weight room does help. You could see.
Is there any, now looking towards potentially college, are there any schools looking at you? Are there any offers towards you? Tell me about it.
Um, well, like I've been talking to like the Western New England coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna go up for a visit later in July, but I mean, right now I'm kind of keeping my options open. Like I don't know if I'm kind of leaning into like a post grad kind of thing, just because first of all, like being a guy, I'm immature, so it gives me that like get
Mm-hmm.
my grades up, get everything my life together right there, and it just kind of gives me more time for football, maybe get more exposure, some like just stuff like that.
So you admit that you're immature.
Oh yeah,
That's
100%.
that's admirable. Hey, credit to you for you being so young and saying, "Hey, I don't think I'm ready for college. I don't want to waste my parents' money or put myself in debt so early in life. Let me go to go to a post grad year with which there's nothing wrong with that. There's been a lot of successful stories who have done that all around Connecticut to try to give themselves an extra year to figure out who they are as a person.
Yeah, I think that's what some people need. Like I'm going into my senior year, I have no clue what I want to do. I'm like, hey, business. Well, what in business? I don't know. So I'm like, maybe give myself a little more time. Maybe a private school, like prep school, will kind of like
Mm.
maybe give me more ideas of what I want to do. Like I might change completely. Like maybe I want to do, I don't know, like a construction. Like I don't like, you know what I mean? So I'm just kind of giving it time.
So you admit that you're immature.
Oh yeah,
That's
100%.
that's admirable. Hey, credit to you for you being so young and saying, "Hey, I don't think I'm ready for college. I don't want to waste my parents' money or put myself in debt so early in life. Let me go to go to a post grad year with which there's nothing wrong with that. There's been a lot of successful stories who have done that all around Connecticut to try to give themselves an extra year to figure out who they are as a person."
Yeah, I think that's what some people need. Like I'm going into my senior year, I have no clue what I want to do. I'm like, hey, business. Well, what in business? I don't know. So I'm like, maybe give myself a little more time. Maybe a private school, like prep school, will kind of like
Mm.
maybe give more ideas of what I want to do. Like I might change completely. Like maybe I want to do, I don't know, like a construction. Like I don't like, you know what I mean? So I'm just kind of giving it time.
You have all the time in the world. I mean, like you said, if you go post grad, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. If you end up wanting to go to school and you feel like you're ready, hey, best of luck either way, man, because I think your future is bright no matter where you go. And I think it's smart that you're taking the approach that you are. And I think that right there, that's maturity. So you could tip your cap to that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I like my mom always wanted me to stay back when I was younger too, because it was like always like I told you before, My
Mm.
birthday's in August, late August, so I'm like younger in my grade. Which I mean, I think it's just I would say my age that I'm immature. I don't think it's the grade or anything, but so I think the time will help me a lot more than I think. I guess.
Joe, I really do appreciate you coming on. And I have one more question for you. And this may be kind of out of left field, and you may not even know this, but I want to throw it out because you're a running back. The running back position of late has started to go down both at the pro level and even with recruiting as far as going to college. Because I don't know if you knew this, but about 15 years ago in California, there was over 20 Division One running backs who ended up going to Division One colleges. But now, since about late 2010, 2011, it started to go down. And the reason why I bring that up is because now with offenses being more spread and with, players starting to realize, hey, I want to be a wide receiver. I want to be a quarterback because that's where the money is. That's where I get my best shot to be a Division One player because all we're doing is throwing the football. For you, how difficult is that the running back position is being in some ways kind of downgraded just a little bit?
Like I've been going to the field a lot, focusing on receiver a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because like even like I'm hoping we're gonna start going into a spread offense a little bit, like kind of planning on it. Kind of like looking at corner, because like I like to be able to do a lot of things just in case I get to college, I'm too small for a running back. Maybe I could play corner. So that's like the only kind of like bad thing, like with lifting and weight. I don't know where to go. Do I want to go 200 pounds, be a running back, or do I want to stay 185 and be a corner?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm kind of just trying to like stay in the middle there, be able to have my options open. Because I mean, yeah, with the running backs going down, it's like it's a big country. So there's not too many schools out there. So kind of just trying to keep my options open. Kind of what I want to play. Like our coaches like keep telling me like you got to do kick return, you got to do punt return, you got to do punt. So hopefully I could do that senior year, get a lot of new things in.
Well, the more that you could add to your arsenal, and smart for them to be able to try to push it on you or try to say, hey, this will help you for kick returning, punt returning, so on and so forth. I mean, if you can block, if you can catch, I mean, that's the one thing too, I will say, blocking amongst running backs is probably more crucial than anything, because if you can do that, then you could stay on the field longer. If you can catch in the backfield, you'll be on the field longer. I think, and again, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You're going to do whatever you want. But if you feel more comfortable at running back, then any stat that says that the running back position is downgrading, be that difference. Show them that you can be, hey, I don't care what the stats say. I'm going to stick to the position because I believe I can make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, see like now it's gonna bring me back to sophomore year. I played corner, I didn't play running back, and it didn't end too well. And then I like Pop Warner, I always played running back because I was older than everybody too, so it was like a fun position. I was just kind of like killing everybody because I was bigger than them.
Mm-hmm.
Now it gets junior year, now I get to play the position I like, the position I'm comfortable with, and I actually do good. So like that's my problem right there. Like I don't want to try another position and not do good when I'm so comfortable with running back.
Then maybe that's your answer. Maybe then you stick with it. Like you said, go to 215, 215 of good weight, not bad weight.
Yeah.
But, don't be eating 50 pizzas and 14 hot dogs every day. But just, keep doing what you're doing, keep learning your craft. I mean, the good thing about you is because you came to the running back position so late, you don't have a lot of the hits. You don't have that wear and tear. The tread on the tires, as I always hear guys in the NFL say for running backs, you're basically right off the lot. So you have a lot of miles left on those wheels.
Yeah, because it's running back. Like obviously, my mom doesn't like that too much. How much I'm getting hit, but it's like to me that's just fun. Like I love getting hit because like I like a position at running back where I know I'm gonna get hit rather than receiver where I catch a ball and all of a sudden I get blindsided. Like I like to be knowing I'm gonna feel contact. That's just what I like, I guess. Like to know when I'm gonna get hit.
Well, Joe, once again, I really do appreciate you coming on. I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and hopefully you can play your senior year. And if and when you decide to go to either college or you want to go post-grad, make sure you come back on the show because I'd love to get you back on. You were great to, be able to talk with.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, as always, stay safe,